Millions of men and women served in the United States military during World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Most of them served with no expectation of recognition for their service. For more than 15 years, a local program has been giving veterans thanks for their service and sacrifice and connecting them to each other. Honor Flight takes veterans on a special all-expenses-paid day-long trip to Washington, D.C. to visit memorials built in their honor. It's a moving experience My 24 feels privileged to let you experience July 4th during a special program, Stars and Stripes Honor Flight. Joining us to help us learn more about the Honor Flight program is Karyn Roelke, president of Southeastern Wisconsin Stars and Stripes Honor Flight. Karyn, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
What is the Honor Flight program and how did it get started in the Milwaukee area?
So the Honor Flight is a one-day, all-expenses-paid trip to Washington, D.C. for our oldest veterans to really thank them for their service, acknowledge their sacrifices, give them the welcome home that they really have always earned but never really received. And the whole program began in Ohio in around 2006 when a private pilot and a physician's assistant began taking World War II vets one by one to their memorial. And really the genesis of the program was that these vets couldn't get there on their own. Whether financially or physically, they were limited as to what they could do and really needed the support. So once that began, our hub here in southeastern Wisconsin started in 2008, and we at that time were taking World War II vets as well. Once most of the World War II vets who wanted to fly did so, we opened to Korean veterans, and now we've opened to Vietnam veterans as well.
Why was this the right time to start this program?
Well, you know, our veterans were aging, and really in the twilight of their lives, they seemed to need the closure that this would bring, and certainly needed the thanks and the acknowledgement of their sacrifices that they hadn't received.
Locally, how many veterans have participated over the years in the Stars and Stripes Honor Program?
Well, we're honored to have taken recently our 10,000th local vet on their Stars and Stripes Honor Flight. So we've taken approximately 4,000 of our World War II vets, a little bit under that, about 3,000, a little bit under that of our Korean vets, and then now about 4,000 of our Vietnam vets as well on these trips.
That just has to have such a tremendous impact on these men and women who maybe at a point in time where they're really looking back in their lives and service was such an important part of what they did, but they haven't necessarily been able to bring closure?
Yes, it's interesting. A number of Korean and Vietnam vets in particular have told us that they pushed the painful memories down while they were working because they were raising families, they were busy all the time, but once they retired, those memories seemed to come bubbling back to the surface. And it's really our honor at this point in their lives to give them one of their best days and the ability to kind of put a positive bookmark on that point in their lives.
Particularly for Vietnam vets, when they came home, many of them had terrible experiences when people learned of their service.
Yes, the stories I've heard have just been heartbreaking. And for us, it's just an extra joy to give them a positive day, a happy and love-filled day to really hopefully replace some of those bad memories. I received just this morning an email from a veteran who flew on our May 18th Stars and Stripes Honor Flight, a Vietnam veteran. And just out of nowhere, he decided to tell us that he has never felt so loved as he did on his Stars and Stripes on his Honor Flight day. And for us, that's just exactly what we were shooting for in his experience. So,
what does that typical day look like? How does it start for veterans from the airport in Milwaukee till the time they come back?
It's a very early morning. They check in around 5 or 6 a.m. depending on the situation at Mitchell Airport, who have been incredible partners for us since 2008 in this endeavor. So they check in bright and early, breakfast at the terminal, they take a portrait, they spend a bit of time with their guardian until we board. We have the national anthem. And then we fly out to Washington, D.C., and we really pack the day with surprises for the vets. to kind of reinforce this welcoming, joyful, healing atmosphere. When we get to Washington, D.C., we offload the plane into coach buses and have a tour of the memorials. So we generally include the National Mall, so that's the World War II Memorial, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall, the Korean War Memorial, and the Lincoln Memorial. And then we always have a date for the changing of the guard at Arlington National Cemetery. For the Marines on the tour, we try to stop at the Marine Corps Iwo Jima Memorial, usually the Air Force Memorial as well, the FDR and MLK memorials, and then when possible, we try to include the Pentagon 9/11 Memorial, which is a meaningful one for both vets and guardians alike. And then we load back up. You know, we have meals included, so those happen throughout the day. We load back up, head back to the airport in the DC area, and then fly back to Milwaukee that evening for just a blast of a welcome home at the end of the day.
You mentioned the guardians. Those are, each vet who takes a flight has a guardian associated with them.
Yes.
How important are those guardians to making this experience one that's both comfortable and memorable?
The guardians are exceptionally important because we want the veteran to not have to worry about a thing. So the guardian is responsible for not only supporting the veteran physically and emotionally, but also for kind of managing the day for the vet, for knowing where they need to be and when, so that the vet can just really relax and enjoy the day. And for many veterans, that guardian is a son or a daughter or a granddaughter or a grandson, so those bonds are forged, made even stronger throughout the course of the day. And for other vets, they don't have someone that can serve in that role, so we have an incredible group of volunteers, and often they can make a new friend for the day.
You talk about volunteers. One of the things that amazes me about Stars and Stripes Honor Flight is that with everything you've done, getting 10,000 vets to DC to see their memorials, this is an all-volunteer organization. How do you do that?
It's actually quite a challenge, honestly, but it's something that we're all passionate about. So we have a board of directors of 18, and then we have about 275 active volunteers that help us on flight day and outside of flight day to execute these days. So it's a joy for us, and really, we don't have an office either. So we have no overhead. So we're really proud that when people donate to Stars and Stripes Honor Flight, that 97 cents of every donated dollar goes to the mission. If we didn't have to pay for postage and insurance, it would be 100%. So we're really proud of that number, and really enjoy working together to give our vets a memorable day.
And how do vets find out about the program?
So right now, the vets that are eligible are veterans who served active duty beyond boot camp in June of 1975 or earlier. So anyone who served after June of 1975 may be eligible in the future, but isn't quite yet. And they can go to our website, starsandstripeshonorflight.org, to find out all the information they might like to know, and there's also online applications there for both veterans and guardians. And they can also find us on all the social media platforms too.
Well, we certainly appreciate all the work that you do, and we're inviting everyone to stay with us. For our next segment, we're going to be talking to a Vietnam vet who participated in an honor flight, and we'll hear about the impact it's had on his life. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're learning about the Southeastern Wisconsin Stars and Stripes Honor Flight program, which provides veterans with a unique experience to travel to Washington, D.C. to see the memorials built in their honor and to receive the thanks some of them never received when they returned home. We are here with one veteran who made the flight, Pastor Gerald Wilcoxon. He is a combat Marine who served from 1969 to 1970. Thank you for being with us. Appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what your service was like and how you became a Marine.
Well, my uncle was a Marine, and so I just loved the uniform. I said, if I ever get grown, I'm going to join the Marines. And so my twin brother and I, after we got of age, we decided to volunteer and sign up for the Marines. And so we didn't realize, I often say, we didn't realize we made a real big boo-boo until we got to boot camp. I never experienced anything like that. And so, but anyway, we were proud to have served and everything, and then we had orders to go to Vietnam. And so we got to Vietnam, and that was quite an experience as well. And so it probably was different to have two twin brothers in Vietnam together. And so he was in Kilo 37, I was in Fox 27. And so then I had heard he got wounded. And when I heard he had a head wound, I automatically knew that that was it, because they had mistakenly thought that I was wounded and right back out in the field. And I said, no, I wasn't wounded. And then I found out my brother was the one that was hit. So that really was a traumatic experience for me. And then found out that he was alive. They sent us back, joined us together, and then one of us had to go. So we had to wrestle with who goes, me or him. And I said, well, since you've been wounded, you did your time, you go. So then they sent him to the Philippines. He became an MP in the Philippines. And that was, I was glad he was gone and safe until he started sending me pictures of all of the little girls he was messing around with and everything. And then I got mad, I got angry, because I'm here in a foxhole in the rain, in the monsoon, and here he is sitting talking about, so. But it was all in fun, and we were glad when we got back together, and that's why we're close today. We talk every day.
Other than being so glad to be with your brother, what was it like for you when you came home? What did you experience?
When I came home, I was angry, because I heard all of the taunts and the people saying baby killers and all the rest of it. I was stupid for going. So I just withdrew and didn't say anything about Vietnam, my experiences in the Marine Corps, nothing. Matter of fact, my sea bag came home, and I was so angry until I took it and threw it in the garbage. I just didn't want no part of any of it. And it was a traumatic experience. I abused alcohol a little bit because I wanted to try to hide that chapter from my life, and traumatic.
Was it helpful for you to have your brother?
Yeah. Well, our wives used to get a little angry because every time we met, it was we were talking about Vietnam, talking about our experiences, and they didn't want to hear it. They didn't understand it. But I could bring closure, a little bit of closure, because I could talk to somebody who understood me and I understood him. So we became even closer, and still close today.
How did you find out about honor flight, and what did you think about it when you found out about it?
I thought about it just about the way I talk to veterans today. That's too long ago. I don't have time. I mean, I just, I done threw this out of the back of my mind, so I don't want no part of it. And my brother-in-law is the one who said, he's the one that gave me the information. I said, all day, free? Nah, there's got to be something to it. And so he said, no, we need to go, brother-in-law. We call each other brother-in-law. He said, we need to go, brother-in-law, because that sounds interesting. And so he's a Vietnam veteran too, so he was a medic. And so I said, okay, all right. So we signed up and still didn't catch it, until I got on the plane. Then when I got on the plane and I started seeing all these other veterans, I said, and then we started bonding, because we could identify with each other. And so I told my brother-in-law, I said, I'm kind of glad I'm here. Well, let's see what happens. And then we got up there, and then the trip itself was amazing, just simply amazing. We got a chance to see all of this memorial. I ate more than I wanted to eat, and they just fed you like I don't know what. But anyway, we got in there, and I seen the Vietnam, I seen the Marine Corps flag. And so I just said, this was just an awesome trip. And I really, really enjoyed it. But nothing like, can I tell the part when I came home?
Yes.
Nothing like coming home. Yeah. When I came home and we saw the bagpipes and all of these people, the cheerleaders and the bands and everything, and all of it was geared towards us. And I said, I can't believe this. And so I was like telling Karyn, I said, I was trying to man up because, I didn't man up for my family. I can't have them coming in here, I'm crying and carrying on. And so, but tears were watering up in my eyes because it was just a beautiful experience after that day. And the roll call I hadn't heard in 50 years. The mail call hadn't heard in 50 years. And so I said, my goodness, and they was passing them all out. And I got there, and it was this one guy that was holding his child. I tell this story to everybody. And he was holding his child, but he couldn't take his eyes off me. And I kept looking at him. And so finally, he sets his child down. He comes over to me, and they got a barrier there, and he reaches out his hands, and I shook his hand, and he said, it's been 50 years, but we finally got it right. Welcome home, Marine. And I get, tears just start coming down there. And then I saw my family, and then I boo-hooed. It was just over. But I said, I really felt for the first time in 50 plus years now, I felt welcome.
Did it change the way you felt about your service?
It was a life-changing experience. I didn't even wear these hats. I wouldn't even wear the hat. I wear Bears, and I would wear my baseball cap, but wouldn't wear anything remotely that says anything about service until I started seeing other veterans. And after this honor flight, I started wearing my hat again. So I had the white cap, that has the star, has the emblem. I said, no, I want to wear this one that says that I was in the Marines. I belong here. I just am so grateful and so thankful for the Stars and Stripes honor flight. I'm just so grateful because it is a life-changing experience. I'll never forget.
And you would certainly recommend it to other
I
veterans?
highly recommend it, that anybody who wants a life-changing experience, sign up and go. I've talked to a number of people, and some people want to go, and then I found out that they can come to Milwaukee and be a part of this great thing. And so I'm starting to read with the little kids from Steve, who was part of this honor flight, and I got on board with him, and so I let the kids that have trouble reading, I go with them, and it's called Freedom Readers or something like that, and I'd go every Friday and let the kids read. And now we even bond. They just love it, and they found out that the head principal, the head secretary is my daughter. So we go to Veterans Day, we went to it, and I had all my stuff on, and that's Miss Dagan's dad, and they remembered it.
Yeah.
They remember. So this all adds up to making you really feel welcome and feel at home. And so now I'm just proud to share everything with everybody, my experiences with the Stars and Stripes honor flight. I recommend everybody to go.
Well, we remember and are thankful for your service, Pastor Wilcox, and Karyn, for all that you do. Please make sure that you tune in on July 4th at noon for the Stars and Stripes Honor Special on My 24. It will be rebroadcast on July 6th at 7 p.m. on My 24 as well. We're back in just a minute.